and I won't say right. Rosie, scrap that car cause when I'm alone you don't believe I left you home and I don't believe. I get the feeling that I'll never release you. I get the feeling I can kill to protect you. Get the feeling I can down, I'm stealing from Rosie. Stealing from Rosie. Stealing from Rosie. Rosie, I'm capable of breaking the law if you want me to. I take a fall if you ask me to. I get the feeling that I'll never release you. I get the feeling I can kill to protect you. I get the feeling I can stand up stealing from Rosie. Stealing from Rosie. Stealing from Rosie.
Hello and welcome to Welter Weekend Special. Here we go. This is it. It's a grand final day today here in Australia for our AFL competition, Australian footy, and I'm going to be the first to admit I'm not an avid AFL watcher, but good old Elliot is. And so is our special guest today, good mate of Elle's, Urthboy, that we're bringing on, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a great little show today, and glad that you're here. How are you, Suzanne? Good to see you here. Hope you're having a cracking weekend so far. Yes, it's hey MD, how are you, man? MD Hanef is here. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you're here. We've got John on as well. And hey, and it's always good to see our lovely friend up in F&Q. Jackie, how are you? Just saw the photo you sent me. Nice looking glass. It is a nice looking glass. Yep, there it is. Look at that, and you just sent me a photo. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. There's a photo. Let the camera kind of... I don't know if the camera's going to... No, I don't think the camera can actually focus on that. But as you can see, there's a wine bottle, a glass, and me on the big screen. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. So, yeah, well, let's wrap this, get this thing going. I've just got to click a button and the magic of live TV, when you click a button, things like this happen.
Way! Here I
Look at
am.
that.
Hi,
How are
Dave.
you, buddy?
Happy Grand Final Day.
Happy Grand Final Day, El.
I know
yeah.
it doesn't mean a huge thing to you, but look, thank you for joining me on my joyous day of the year.
Well, look, I've even gone for colours of the Bulldogs, which is red, blue, and white. I'm wearing a white T-shirt
Well done,
with some
well
red,
done.
and I've got some blue and red lights there. So, go Blue Dogs, Bulldogs,
Bulldogs,
or whatever, whoever. I don't know. Look, if the
Yeah.
Swans were in the grand final, I'd be semi-excited.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Okay,
wearing
so-
the colours here. I've got the colours here. Yeah. That's right. Oh, look, I'm leaping out of my skin. We haven't had many high points, but this is definitely a high point of the year. The Grand Final 2021. It's going to be a cracking game this evening. Once again, another late night Grand Final, which I'm so over the moon about. But also, I'm really excited. I'm just excited all the way. I just can't control myself today.
Is it in West Australia, Perth?
It is indeed in Perth for the first time ever. So very, very special. But also, even more special, we've got a great special guest today. A really good mate of mine, Tim Levinson, Urthboy. Tim is I've known him for many years, and we've shared many kicks to the Sharon together over the years. But what I'm really excited is he's going to perform for us and for everybody out there today. And I absolutely adore his lyrics. He's inspired, and he was testing one of his songs, and it's probably one of my favourites. So stand by for that too. Shall we kick off with a song, Dave?
Yeah. Did you just push the drain button, Al?
I did. Can you hear it?
It's the post-it note starting to work.
Yeah, that's no. I haven't got it this time. I've just got it's getting the buttons to press. Joseph David on Wednesday. No, last night wasn't it, Dave? That Joseph asked us for this song, and I said yes tomorrow for sure. So this one's for Joseph, and this is quite an apt song right now. The song's called the Miner's Song. Send the miners down, the methane's on the rise. It's critical for a month, the whole thing could explode any day. Send the miners down. Should have closed the miners down, put them all out on the door. Kids in the truck drive off to the city alone. Probably hit the skids. I know this world has stand, has shaken. I'm damned if I do. Out of a job if I don't send the miners down. I send the miners down. I can't stand in the way. There's money to be made, and people are just numbers on a page. I send the miners down. Job if I don't send the miners down. This world gonna stay hot shaking. Desert at the end there, Dave.
A little bit of desert at the end there.
Big
Jackie's
question from
asked
Jackie
you a question, yeah.
I am wearing red and black, so it's definitely D's for me. And I'm a little bit of I'd love them to see. I'm a little bit of a softie, but I have been picking them all year, and that's probably why I'm not gloating here, Dave. But me and my mates me and the Bangers have a tipping competition, and yeah, I might have won.
You might have won. Well, you'll see at the at the end of year Bangers Bash.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Should we bring Timmy in?
Yeah, let's
I'm
bring
really
him
excited.
in. You ready to come in, Tim?
Let's come.
Here we go.
Damn, the magic of streaming.
That's it. Unmute yourself there, Tim.
You're unmuted.
There we go.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Good to have you here, man, on such an important day. Sorry, but yeah. You know, that's the way it goes.
It's
No, we are getting some weird echo in the background. There we go.
We've got some echo happening now. Where'd that come from? That's crazy.
It must be that once you go live, because we're now going live, that's what happens. Things start to slow down.
That's,
Might have to do the old headphone things.
Talk amongst yourself for a moment.
Everybody out there in streaming land right around the world, we did a sound check and it was sounding fantastic, but that's much better. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Turning it on, turning it down. That's the way to do it.
How is that to listen to at this moment?
That sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic.
Okay, cool. We
So,
might
Tim,
we might get back to that in a moment when I do a bit of playback for this music. But let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
We can only have one technical difficulty per minute or two, so let's just sort of spread them out.
Hey, we've had hours of them, hours and hours of them.
Hours in them. Hey, look, somebody's logged on. Look at this, Mr. Kabaddi.
Uh-oh.
Get out of the drain, El.
I like the drain. There it is. Finally, the AFL has booked a quality lineup for the grand final. Welter and Urthboy, outstanding poets, plus they shimmer on both sides of the footy.
So what, Kabaddi, didn't you like Meatloaf?
I think he was actually the intermediary. He was Kabaddi was the agent for Meatloaf, so he actually took a cut.
Was it for
happy.
AFL or was it for the?
It was for AFL.
It was for AFL. They did that. Oh,
Yeah.
One of the high points of
one of the high points.
Grand Final entertainment.
So I've heard a lot about that this week. There's been a lot of talk about Meatloaf's performance for that, and the questioning of why.
Why?
It follows in a long, great tradition of getting pretty much anyone from overseas to validate our, our entertainment sector by appearing in front of our, one of our biggest audiences. And Meatloaf, in the long line of great international acts who've come out here on a junket, completely just dropped the ball, and we all just watched in horror. And he was paid probably however many hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he went home just a little bit richer than he came.
Yes,
yeah.
He did.
Did he mind that he couldn't read the auto cue? Did he mind that he couldn't hit the notes anymore? Did he mind? No, I don't think so.
No, because his bank account didn't mind.
No.
What's this? Wish I could see them play in a Batmobile. What, we could all ride around the ground in a Batmobile? That'd be nice. Oh,
yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
That's it. And that. Hey, Heath, how you going, buddy?
Oh, fantastic. Hey, do you think, there is a fantastic Australian lineup this year at this year's final, though, isn't there? There's some really good players. I think Urthboy should be on there next year. I mean, what do you reckon? You're going to push for it? Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I have mixed feelings about entertainment and sport, especially in that kind of setting. Yeah. And if the way that it's weaved into that atmosphere is really thoughtful, you can have a really great meeting place between sport and music and art and music. Those two worlds can really combine in a complementary and an emotionally an emotionally, how do I say it? Like, it reflects the moment. Like you feel it, the music amplifies everything. But if it's not thoughtful and it's just sort of wedged in here or there, it just is so incongruent. So
yeah, I agree. I was lucky enough to be at the Swans Grand Final in 2012, and Paul Kelly played. And it just, we know Paul Kelly is a brilliant left foot kick, so we know he's got football running through his veins. But him and also the year before, I saw the Hunters, and they were playing outside, and they played the Holy Grail outside at the Richmond ground. And that there are only a few bands that actually have the breadth of their work that actually connects on that level.
Yeah.
You know. So two or three pop songs and a song about power and passion, that may not cut it in that sort of. There are only a couple of ideas that really can connect, I reckon. Anyways.
Yeah.
What about Tina Turner's "Simply the Best"?
Well, yeah, that's what you can play. That you can do that once, but you can't do it over and over again.
Yeah, that was a good example. combined what was a really popular campaign with the live performance of it. Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also have a special connection with Simply the Best because that was the song my cousin chose at my grandmother's funeral. And so as we were carrying the casket out, Tina Turner is just like blasting out Simply the Best. It's
That's awesome.
one of the strangest experiences, but, you know, it kind of makes sense with my Gold Coast cousins and the way that, you know, Simply the Best. I mean, my grandma was simply the best. Why not? You know,
Yeah.
get in the mood.
What do you want to say? Well, you know, a couple of words. She's simply the best. That's fantastic. That works for me.
Yeah.
Oh man, are you going to do some a cappella for us today, or are you going to do a song? Or what do you got?
I guess
what sort of
I
ideas?
guess we could just sort of flip a coin, don't you think? I mean, I can start playing the music, and if it echoes a little bit, we'll just quickly change it and pretend that it's all part of the programming. You know, it's a sort of
Well, I mean,
versatility.
We've been talking for a few minutes, so you know a technical difficulty in the next minute or so is okay now because we've actually passed the last technical difficulty.
We've spread our awkwardness out, which is something very human about that, you know.
I live with awkwardness every day, every minute of my life. So I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in awkwardness.
Yeah, foot in mouth.
Yeah,
great position.
Yeah, I mean, I have a great affinity with, and I have a sympathy for any people who do have, especially socially awkward people who, you know, when you're in that moment, you can identify that the other person is struggling just a bit, or not really sure how to kind of. I actually really I like those moments because I've had that many times where I've smoked a joint or something and I've just gone, you know, and you really want to be there for someone in that moment. And I mean, obviously there's a difference between all the legitimate reasons why you have a bit of you know, awkwardness around, you know, and smoking a joint, which is very self-inflicted, but you know, my heart goes out to awkward. I would never want to you know, be too judgmental about awkward people. Yeah. And that's not just me setting up what's about to happen in a moment.
A good segue, I think, by the sound
I think that's fantastic. So, and look, the mountain's just been made into a molehill, so you'll just step off it lightly. That's fantastic.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I thought that I would do, one of the songs that I was going to do today was just, you know, continuing on with the sport theme. And I thought that this would be one of those songs that kind of meets that you know, the band kind of arrangement, or just suits it if it is a cappella. And it's a song that I wrote after Philip Hughes passed away many years ago, and it's a song called Nambucca Boy, which is basically a poem I wrote after coming home one night driving from, where was it? I think it was over East Sydney. I was driving past the SCG and I saw all the lights on, and I knew a mate who worked there, and I was aware that was the lights that they'd put on the week that Philip Hughes was hit by a bouncer, and he subsequently passed. But there was a few days touch and go where he may have gotten through. But when the news hit that he had, you know, his life support had been turned off, and he was let go, that all of his dear friends and great mates who were just in such grief because it was such a devastating moment for anybody who has played cricket, has been hit by a ball, who didn't really understand maybe the way that, you know, these helmets should protect batsmen from a piece of leather flying at their head at 150 k's an hour. It was such confusion. It felt so surreal. But anyway, all of his dear friends went out to the SCG and they turned the lights on, and I drove past at the same time. So the feeling of what I knew was taking place, not by the spectacle which we were all engaging with, but the really close friends of his that were just like dealing with their friend who had, you know, should not have ever passed away, but had suddenly passed away. And I was going home, and I just sort of did a beeline for the studio and just sat down and wrote, because I guess in strange times where words don't quite capture the enormity of the occasion, sometimes I suppose that is a bit of a it's a retreat, or it's a place of solace as an artist, to be able to kind of try and say something about what that feeling is. And it's always such an interesting dynamic between, in music, and I'm sure in many other things, the relationship between feeling and the words or the chords or the musicianship that are employed to try and capture that feeling. And we are hit and miss in our ability to kind of get it.
Yeah.
And when you get it, it's really great. And I guess like it doesn't necessarily matter so much about being successful in getting it, but that's I guess that thing that I was looking for that night, was just trying to make sense of this moment. And you know, I then went and reverse engineered it into a song, and so it sort of lives on as a poem or a song, but it was just something for me to just make sense of it. And yeah, the song's called Nambucca but I'm not sure if we're going to jump into it, but that's the background for this song.
I'm really excited to hear it again.
Well, should I jump into it? Shall we give it a bit of a? Shall we experiment with whether it's going to work, and if not, I'll just pull out, and then we'll just work it out.
Yep, that's it.
Do that. Give it a go.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Let's have a look at this.
Oh, there we go.
And all of these thousand thoughts will be in the back of your mind, looking out the dressing room door. Am I good enough to don these whites? CSCG, but the nerves are bilingual. Often settled by a single, just hit the damn ball, yet the game is that simple. Jittery fear, the cheap dismissal. On the walls hung the accolades, the names that have been engraved, the Bradmans, the Benos, the giants of the game, that rose up like a fig tree out of Saturdays. Kid was seeing them like basketballs. The summer that he'd be recalled, feet moving, better balance than a shorter ball, scoring freely, barely getting caught at all. He was brought up Nambucca Riverway, town to Maxfield. Young kid begins to play, the way he wields the willow outside off. No matter what was thrown at him, well, it'd bounce right off. The runs came in 50s and tons, ever since he was young. Save your legs, feel it's 4 more runs. Baggy cap was not a match for the Australian sun. Necks and noses got burnt for the emblem on the front. And the write-up in the local paper, but this time not up in the back of the sports pages. A local lad had cracked the shield side, couple years after the Ashes, the 05. Raised his bat that much that he got his baggy green, flying across the Indian Ocean with the Australian team. Number 1 ranked opposition, Dale Steyn at the peak of his powers, debuting against him in a nerve-wracking hour. And he failed at first, caught by the keeper, but it was the second innings of the match that he featured. Second test of the series, a century in both innings. The youngest to do it at 20 was no longer a secret. And it had all gone to plan, but his destiny was never that simple, 'cause simple is rare. A temporary member in and out of the test, but soon enough a permanent threat. But they're in the middle that November night. Let the groundsman turn on the lights. The radio report saying that the batsman died. So let the groundsman turn on the lights. All of these thousand thoughts will be in the back of their minds, walking out the dressing room door, solemnly side by side. So let the groundsman turn on the lights. Grown men crying at traffic lights, and everywhere there were dust outside. So let the groundsman turn on the lights. And ba-dum-dum-bum-ba-day, 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 ba-dum-dum-bum-ba-day. So play on, play on, so play on, yeah. Bad people play on, bad ball play There we go.
Worked a treat,
Fantastic,
mate.
man. That worked all right.
I've got to put the
Okay.
headphones on.
Yes, I got to kill that back and turn the Bluetooth back off. See you later, no problem.
Lots
And
of
here I am.
laughing in the. That worked a treat.
Just as we sound checked it.
Just
Wow.
We know what we're not doing.
yeah, exactly. Hey,
Planning.
Tim,
Yeah.
the groundsman turning on the lights. I think that's a beautiful line, and I think it's captured exactly what the symbolism that you have in that song is so special, because many people could walk past the lights at the SCG and would see that, the lights are on, and they wouldn't actually connect with why the lights are on and what's happening and the story behind it. Where you did, and that's why that song's so special. So well done. Mate.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess it's interesting, isn't it? Everything has context, and
Yeah.
you're right. You could have just driven past and gone, "Oh, they're doing, they're cleaning the ground," or there's some maintenance work. But because we have a little bit of information, it allows us access to something that can be a bit disarming. It can really, remind you. There's all of these reminders, and they're constantly around us. And whether we are tuned into them and listening to them is one thing. I guess that's the ability of us to slightly be not self-aware, but externally aware of other things that are going on. And I think it always is like the breadcrumbs back to your own humanity in a way, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you. Breadcrumbs back to your own humanity. Another Levinson original.
That's it. I just want to do a shout out. Hey, Sol, how are you, man?
Saul Mooney, you're a legend down there in South Australia. G'day, fella. How are you? And Roberto, top work, everyone. That's for you, Tim, for sure, man.
On you, Roberto.
Yeah, guys, we're streaming live to Facebook. We're streaming live to YouTube, and we're also streaming live to Twitch. So
for the kids,
that's it. So everybody that's on any of those platforms, it looks like Roberto's watching us on YouTube. Awesome stuff. Hey, I just figured while we're here, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. All right, who's going to count backwards from 3 to 1?
Okay.
Out of you two, come on.
I will. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Share. We share
hit the share button, guys. Anybody on Facebook, please hit that share button, and let's get a few more people onto the stream because this is a bit of a celebration, Welter Weekend stream. Up in that top right-hand corner, you will see a QR code. If you like what you're experiencing today, please hit that QR code. You can go and throw us a tip. The buskers, the virtual buskers suitcase is open. And man, any amount is fine. Buy us a cup of coffee, buy us a beer, a lemonade. We don't care. It all helps. And if you can't, that's cool too. We do this as a free show, but we do appreciate any tips that come by our way, and we love your support for it. So. All right. What are you going to do? What's next? Do you want to play a song? Or?
I just got to ask Tim, mate, who are you going for today? I mean, this is a pre-game, big once in a time.
That's a big question. Yeah. Can I just go back to 1 second though?
Yeah.
Have you ever just thought about asking for, instead of a coffee or something, just throwing it out there like a speedboat or just something that's a bit more kind of start here and work down rather than?
I asked for my own jet at one point.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of still waiting for that to land yet.
Yeah.
So I figured while I'm waiting, if people want to buy us a coffee or a beer whilst we're waiting for the jet, because I imagine, I mean, you see our logo up there, the W, the blue W, that's what I imagine on the tail.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
If Qantas can have the kangaroo, well, we've got our W on our own.
Why not?
Our own jumbo. And I imagine I have this imagination of the lead singer Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden as our pilot.
True. Yeah.
So I think that would be cool. He would be flying us around. No, he's a fully licensed commercial pilot.
Is he serious?
Yeah, man. That guy, he is switched on. Bruce Dickinson is switched on dude.
I've seen the Iron Maiden plane at Sydney Airport.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and I understand they fly themselves around. They've just put out a record that my much more sort of aficionado friend, who has been a long time metalhead and rock and roller, has said that it's one of their best records of their entire careers. It was the top 5 of the ARIA charts just a couple of weeks ago. So Iron Maiden, they're flying planes and still putting out pretty solid art at this point.
I saw Iron Maiden on their first Australian tour back in a couple of centuries ago. At the old Capitol Theatre in Sydney before they rebuilt it, and it was probably still today one of the best openings to a concert I've ever experienced, from just the sheer energy and power, because they all started, except the drummer, but they all started playing off stage.
Yeah.
And it was classic Iron Maiden, and the 3 of them all ran on stage and they sprinted to the front of the stage and synchronized straight on, 1 foot on the wedge, over the audience and into it, and
Love
the crowd
it.
just went mental. Yeah, it was awesome.
So
We
good.
thought we were up in the balcony, and no kidding, we really thought at one point the balcony was going to collapse. It was just
That's an old theatre too.
Yeah.
That was an old, the old, it was insane.
Yeah.
And hey, Saul's got a question for you.
Where does the name Welter come from? Hey, Saul. Welter is an uncontrollable mass of something. So I don't know if you know about bands, Saul. I know you know about bands. So running with a band, it's like being in an uncontrollable mass. So and it also means to writhe around uncontrollably, which I connect with because I've got a history of epilepsy. So I know about writhing around uncontrollably.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thankfully, it hasn't happened at a gig yet.
Yeah, no, that's right. But we don't
Whatever
like
they
the strobe lighting, do we, Dave?
We don't like the
true.
strobe lighting. We've had a couple of close calls at some gigs where I've had to come off in the break and go up to the sound guy and say, "Hey, man, no strobes, please," and just keep it flashing to a minimum.
Yeah.
Safe working environment, please, sound engineer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be
or
on the
lighting
ground.
engineer. Yeah. Hey, sorry, I know that I can ramble, but Elle, to answer your question originally, I'm all in for the D's tonight. I do think it could be a coin toss, but I've been following the D's kind of as a second or third team for quite a while, and continuously sort of not enjoyed, but taken a little bit of amusement out of the long-suffering fans of Melbourne, and you can't help but be pretty caught up in that energy of finally reaching a grand final after however long it is that since they've last made one. So
I think it's over 50 years. I think
50 years. I mean, anything over 10 years is worth a celebration, but 50, I mean, that's got to call in all the neutrals, I think. So
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, look, there's a big family history of Melbourne's followers. Not as big as Collingwood, but people are born into following Melbourne, like the same way that they're born into following Collingwood. It's just that Collingwood supporters have multiplied like rabbits. That's all. Where Melbourne supporters have been a bit more, a bit slower at populating the world. But if you're not born into Melbourne supporting, you don't really sort of adopt a team like Melbourne. I mean, and a lot of people have adopted Sydney as their team, or adopted, as we know, the Greater Western Sydney, the Giants. But in Melbourne, it's a family tradition to follow Melbourne, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But having said that, I'm definitely following Melbourne. I think that's what I've tipped. And as I said today before, look, you're speaking to our Bang competition tipping winner this year, so I've done pretty well, but only because the Swans won a lot of games.
King Tipper. You really did. You really, for all of the fans of Wagons tipping out there, and it's a demographic. I'm not sure how many of you out there, or actually, should more to the point, watching this.
Detractors. It's detractors.
the gap between first and second was, I think, even
Tight.
in the last couple of rounds, was like, no,
Yeah.
you were sort of 6 or 7 tips up. It was just disgraceful. I mean, you were just so far ahead, but I'm not sure how it all ended up. But you deserve that win this year. Hell, it's
Yeah, it was
definitely.
and it was mainly because of Swans winning. I think it's difficult if your team doesn't win, and we had a good year, so that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Man.
Are you going to play us another tune, or are we going to give it another red hot go? What do you reckon?
What do you think? Is it
Well, you
Shall
were
I give it
warming
It
up.
worked well. I think
it worked really well. And you were warming up with Juanita before, which I absolutely love. And before you,
Okay.
are you going to play that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But but tell me, I want to know how you got connected to that story and why it made such an impression on you as a writer.
Yeah, this is interesting. And hopefully I'll try and keep this the abridged version, because this is such a fascinating story. It's worth, I mean, they've just done a podcast series on Juanita Nielsen's life and a TV show, and it was 8 episodes, and they still haven't worked out what had actually happened to her. So the chance of giving it proper context in a second, I'll give it a shot. But this song came about after I was researching a bunch of songs for my last record, which was all about the relationship between history and the present, and the links and the threads that flow through. And I was just really interested in the idea of how, when you're young and you think back 5 years, 5 years is a really long time. When you're 25, 10 years is quite a long time. When you're 35 or 40, suddenly you start, I think there's a big change in life. You start realizing, hang on, I can remember 20 years ago. Like 20 years ago was when I was an adult. Oh my God, my life is changing. My whole concept of the relationship of time is starting to be a bit challenged. And I've quite often thought, well, if 20 or 30 years starts to become a bit more of a practical part of your life, then you start to kind of realize just how close 50 years and 70 years ago was in all, reality. It actually is very tangible, and it touches the lives of people around us, whether it be our parents or whatnot. And so I thought about this when I was researching the record and telling all these different stories. I was encountering people like Jack Mundy, people who led the Green Bands, and that connected over to Juanita Nielsen and her story and her role within the developments that were going in around the 70s and the community resistance towards those developments. And of course, Juanita Nielsen ended up disappearing. And it's quite clear that though they don't know exactly who did it, there's a fairly strong case against people relating to Frank Tiemann and Abe Saffron and a whole bunch of the corrupt cops and politicians of the day. So this song really became about trying to tell Juanita's story a little bit. And when I listened to the podcast, I actually found out that some of the details in the song are probably wrong. There's probably a few little bits here and there where I've kind of concluded something, but actually the truth might even be more disturbing. So, part of it was these big apartments they were trying to throw up in around King's Cross, Potts Point, that kind of area, and the amount of poor people they had to just kick out. And of course, the developers were in cahoots with the government were in cahoots with the cops. And so in order to kind of get it happening, the cops kind of came in as sort of like a bit like the official militia. And they were working with a whole bunch of thugs and just King's Cross colorful types who were coming in and just bashing these residents and kicking them out. So all of these residents were just kind of distributed all across Sydney and displaced. And Juanita was there trying to raise attention to it. So this song is really about kind of looking at her role within it and the fact that she paid for it with her life. But the podcast actually opened up a whole nother interesting set of theories around the fact that she wasn't just fighting for these residents. She was employing all sorts of different tactics. And one of them was actually countering Abe Saffron, one of the most dangerous people in Australia at the time, a full-on legitimate gangster. And no shortage of I mean, he's the guy who's behind that Luna Park story, that became like that documentary that was shown this year. Abe Saffron was right at the center of that. And there's a theory that Abe Saffron had a black book, and that black book was pretty much filled with all sorts of, blackmail information against judges, politicians, celebrities, athletes, anyone of any power. He had information on, and he used to have like motels where he would provide sex workers for these people, and then he would find out what their weakness was, and he would have this black book there. So there's this vault that the theory goes that Juanita was speaking to a criminal about getting access to these black books, and then she was telling Abe Saffron on the backside that he was, she was going to get this black book, in which case his whole operation would become, would become, I guess, under huge threat, because it would sort of expose everything. And that's why, I guess, why you can imagine all of that corruption taking place is because that all these judges and politicians knew that Abe had dirt on him.
Yeah.
We don't know if that is actually the case.
If that is the case, Juanita is a woman with massive spine. To actually face up to somebody as dangerous with so much threat as Abe Saffron, and actually face up to him, that's mind blowing. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yep. And there's some people think, it's naivety on her behalf. Other people think, no, she actually knew exactly what she was doing. She was very calculated. She understood the value of political capital and using it to get a good outcome for all of these poor residents who were being kicked out of their house. Their families lived there. They didn't know anything else. But this is the way that money works in Sydney. And she was sort of standing up for them. I thought she was a great story and something that is still really relevant now. So I had a crack at writing the song.
I love it. I love this song. I love it. I'm so pleased you're playing this for us today.
Okay, so I guess I'll take the headphones out and fire it up again. See how we go. See if we can strike it lucky twice.
Yes. All right. Well, over to you.
Great tech.
This song's called "Hey Juanita." She never would have set foot in the carousel club if she'd known the steps took her up to where she got shot. Wouldn't take a second look where she could end up. Opposite upset crook, slamming that door shut. Years later when the secretary came forward, nothing could be done with what she said she saw in the life of the woman gone lying on the floor. Men standing over her, the gun still drawn. But hey Juanita, where did you go? We miss you and there's something that we want you to know. Never left in our memory though, so long ago. We send search parties to look for your spirit and know you put your life on the line when they took you away from the light, and they pretty much got away with it. Yeah, they pretty much got away with it when they dragged you west through the night. It was not the time for goodbyes, and we'll never let them get away with it. No, never let them get away with it. Nah. Yeah. The same man visited her 5 days prior. Believed to know that she was in the line of the fire. Intended to abduct her, but it didn't transpire. A friend got the door and they inquired. They invited her to talk. We can chat, they said. Last thing we want to do is put a bag on your head, but paid by powerful enemies. But she wasn't scared. But she don't want to follow out the king's steps. Tied up in a car boot, locked up in a cheap room. That'd have to scar you. Watch how do you speak to Juanita knew as king knew just what they were up to at high noon. Corrupt cops with a hired goons, friendly warning. Kind that makes most stop talking, pack bags, get walking. Bad things happen under moonlight, depending on what you write. Friendly warning. Hey Juanita, where did you go? Hey Juanita, where did you go? Hey Juanita, where did you go? We miss you and there's something that we want you to know. You never left in our memory though, it's so long ago. We send search parties to look for your spirit and know you put your life on the line when they took you away from the light, and they pretty much got away with it. Yeah, they pretty much got away with it when they dragged you west through the night. It was not the time for goodbyes, and we'll never let them get away with it. No, never let them get away with it. Nah. Hey, yeah. Na 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 na. Yeah. You see, long before the battle wreaked havoc on Victoria Street, when eviction notices gave 1 week, 300 people leave where you live, and they left. Well, at least most of them did. They were supposed to disappear. This should have been clean. It came in heavy-handed, and she described the scenes, and they knew it went to asking Premier, who happened to work hand-in-hand with Saffron. Back then, the bagmen and bad men, they made team, and developer who brought the Sydney housing. But look in Sydney Harbour, knew the place was worth a pretty penny. You could kick a killing, put up new apartments, only all the residents departed. That's when the hard men come in. Thugs came knocking when the cops just watching. Friendly warning, pay attention to the friendly warning. Yeah. And they say that one theory is that her body lays under Sydney International Airport. Another one is out at Maroubra, but the most likely case is that they went out on Parramatta Road, out onto the M4, up into the mountains. And to this day, the most likely theory is that her body lay underneath the soil somewhere in the Blue Mountains. And that's it.
Put your headphones back on.
That
so I can
worked?
hear myself. That worked a treat.
Headphones back on.
That worked a treat.
That worked a treat.
And there it is again.
Okay.
That worked a treat. Absolutely loved it. Just fantastic. And so the tag, the epilogue on that is that she may be in the mountains near where you grew up, possibly.
Yeah, well, the other theory is that they just wanted to scare her, but something has happened, and you know, she has lost her life. So there's not that the most plausible theory is that they just did it in a rush, which also makes it really bizarre that she has never been found. So the sense is that they went up there, they just quickly disposed of her body somewhere in the mountains, and you'd just think that there would have been many cases of bushwalkers or something that would have just stumbled across it. And I guess that's something that is still there for us to find. Like that's another little part of history that is living and breathing now in 2021, despite the fact that this took place in the sort of mid 70s. So I think that it's really, I can't help but be really fascinated by the hope that there's some closure for the family, and just to understand that just actually what happened, because I guess there's a sense of pride in her family that she stood up for so much. But also, like, when you think about what people contribute to a society, of course, I guess you'd have pride that someone in your family has done something important, but really it's your family member. You just want to know that what happened to them, and you want to know that they're okay. So I kind of hold my hope for that to happen at some point.
I've got a story for you, because the Blue Mountains is massive amount of land, and so it is a needle in a haystack trying to find her there. My great uncle, he was about 21, and he was working in the west coast of Tasmania in a mine down there, and he was walking up from the mine to walk up to the main road to catch a lift down to Hobart to go to his friend's 21st birthday, and he got lost, and he mismanaged the time, and they found his body 15 years later, and it was huddled up by the side of a creek, and they only identified him by his watch. And my dad used to have that watch, and he had a clipping with on the back of this photo of him, and he actually had the watch that from his great uncle with his name encrypted inscribed into it. And so the chances of actually finding Juanita in the mountains, I think, is amazing. You know, we wouldn't have any chance at all. It'd be such a rare find.
Yeah.
Big place.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
place. Yeah, it's a big place.
Very big place.
Yeah.
But there's still a little hope.
There's
Always.
a little bit
There's
of hope.
always, you know, and I mean, this is the thing, you know, because like hikers are hikers, and you never know where they're going to hike, and you know, it only takes one group of hikers, or you know, or you know, wildlife workers that you know go out and try to find you know species and things like. You know, like it's
the bush firefighters that could that
there's
you know,
always
when,
that hope,
when,
you know,
when a
and
fire goes through.
that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But I also, you know, on reflection, I think like, you know, a lot of my life, there's a continual sort of resetting of how close you are to what your life's purpose is. And looking at stories like Juanita Nielsen do have great ways of reminding you about what's important in life and what you're doing. You don't have to be Juanita Nielsen and put your life on the line, but I like coming back to that. I like seeing somebody who has really kind of sacrificed their own safety and themselves for other people. I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing. Like so much about the happiness of life sometimes is not internal; it's external. It's about what we can give to people and the kind of you know, thoughts that we can have for other people around us. So Juanita's pretty she's sort of up the top shelf of that.
She certainly is. Yeah, and we are judged by our actions, not by our thoughts. And she did so much in her actions. That she did so much to put herself out there for those people who were being kicked out of their homes. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, mate, thanks so much for joining us today. I've absolutely loved listening to you and talking to, getting all the backstories and the why and the wherefore and the magic that goes on in your brain and the joy that you find in writing, which I don't think a lot of people see the finished product and go, oh, that's nice. But I actually see the steps to the finished product as being the exciting parts. And so thanks for letting us in on those parts too, because I absolutely really appreciate that for me. Yeah,
well, thanks for having me on here. Apart from the randomness of playing with the speaker in the background and whatnot, I do enjoy a little bit of banter, and you know, it is nice to sort of lounge back into some of these songs sometimes.
Oh, look, it's all part of the fun of it. I mean, you know, just over a year and a half ago, I mean, we were doing this just through an iPhone, so you know. But definitely want to get you back on again, though, man. It's been a blast. Just sitting around having a chat. So a little bit of a different stream today for you guys out there. So, and don't forget, guys, hit that QR code if you've liked what you've been hearing today, and throw us a tip. We always love a tip.
Share too.
And also, share as well.
Before, Tim, you mentioned the other day to me that you've got in lockdown. You've been doing a project because lockdown projects are, I think, what keeping us sane. You've got a lockdown project that's very special coming on.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, geez, I don't need any blowing up of this one of all projects, but I think that it's like, once again, the lockdown affects everyone differently, and I kind of have a role in my job and in music that, for a few months there, it was certainly feeling like, you know, quite circular and just going around in circles, not really knowing what to do. And the uncertainty is what plagues us in the music, because we're all hanging out in lockdown. But the reality for us is that as soon as things open up, we stay locked down. Like, our venues stay closed. Unworkable. You can't have a 300-person venue suddenly only fit 40 people because of the 1 person per 4 meter square rule. So there's no way that we walk out of lockdown with other people, and we're not the only industry like that, so that's part of it. But the uncertainty of that can kind of be pretty depressing, and you can get into a bit of a hole trying to work out what to do. So I was quite fortunate in some ways, in that I came down to visit my mum under the singles bubble, and she has a much more space here. So I just brought my studio here or a basic setup, and decided to do something that I wanted to do for a long time, but was always far too smart to to actually go into, and that's trying to do a Christmas project.
Excellent.
Not smart. Smart's the wrong word. Just probably had a better balance of common sense to delusion. And my delusion ratio to common sense now is sort of way up here. So now this is what's grabbing the Christmas project by the scruff of the neck and going for it. So I'm running a Christmas project. I have basically 6 weeks to do an album. So that's what I'm into at the moment.
Will we hear the jingles of Christmas bells?
Yeah. Are you using those samples? Those jingle? Yeah.
Look,
don't they say you can turn any song into a Christmas song just by putting jingle bells?
All you got to do, you just got to have those Christmas bells, and suddenly it's a Christmas song.
That's right. The whole record is just random themes that have no focus whatsoever. But every now and again, I just do an ad lib, which is like "Merry Christmas" and put a little tinsel in there, and that's a Christmas record.
There you go.
It's actually just a song. It's just a record about fishing, you know.
Stop hating everybody. Love everybody.
Merry Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
Stop fighting.
That's how you do. That's a Motorhead album with a little bit of jingle over the top. There you go. You got a Motorhead Christmas album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, you open up the bonnet and see how the engine works right now.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, fantastic!
It's a time. Well, I can't wait to hear new music, and we'll keep us posted with the Christmas.
Yeah.
Thanks
for having me.
We might have to do a Christmas show, a Christmas stream. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, let's talk about that later, and we might look at doing a Christmas stream and bring it on that. I mean, I've got a couple of cha-chings come through as well too. So. Thanks, guys, for giving us a tip. We really appreciate the tips that come in. It helps us keep
enough for a plane, Dave. Enough for a plane. Fantastic.
Well, look, it's baby steps. You know,
It helps with the children.
Yeah.
You know,
we
keeps the children fed.
That's it. Helps us buy new shoes.
That is a very scary doll on that light. It looks a bit.
Thanks, Ramo. Thanks, Jackie. We really appreciate the tips. We really do appreciate the tips. You know, because we do want to get that jumbo jet at some stage.
Food on the table, Dave. Food on the table.
And look, you know, I mean, think of the children.
Yeah. You said baby steps and feeding the family and my child just climbed up here and wants to be part of it. So
that's it. Yeah. Think of the children.
It looks like a horror movie, though. It looks like Urthboy horror movie. It looks.
Don't talk about my son like that, El. Don't listen to the man on the TV.
Chucky.
Oh, that's
anyway, so from me and my son here, I just want to say thanks for having me, and I appreciate the chance to catch up. And till next time, go D's.
Excellent.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Tim.
Have a good grand
care,
final.
Buddy.
Cheers, Tim.
Thanks. See you.
Lots of love,
after.
mate. Love you.
Right.
Oh, Urthboy just took it to another level for the Welter Weekend, Dave. What do you reckon?
That's it. Oh, now Jackie's got a good idea. Buy a seaplane, then we can land up in F&Q and use her pool. Awesome. Good idea. How was that, guys? That was fantastic. What a lyricist he is. We'll definitely be getting Tim back, Urthboy back on for and that, you know, and we, as it always is with these things, they're always a work in progress. As you know, this whole live streaming is still a relatively new thing for a lot of musicians, you know, and it's not everybody's completely set up for it yet, you know, but it's going to be the new thing, you know, and I mean, we're going to just keep doing this, like, regardless of, and as Tim mentioned, you know, when we get out of sort of lockdown, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're suddenly going straight back out gigging again, because the sort of venues that we play in just aren't going to be capacity, and it's just not going to be worth it for a lot of musicians to get out there and play gigs, because they're going to have to charge like $100 a ticket just to make $1 because they can only fit a small amount of people in the venue. So, so we're just going to keep doing these live stream shows, and when we get to the point where we can do some full band live streams, we might actually do some live stream concerts, and we might actually sell them as a ticketed event. So stay tuned for that. So what are you going to sing for us, El? Because we're getting pretty close to wrapping this up at the moment. So... Hey, Hunter!
Lolly, your best friend, been with you through all hard times. Stuck around by you, even when you never called. Met her in your room. Lolly, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. We're breaking up, she don't talk to me, don't talk to me. We're breaking up. Took me aside and said, why don't you crawl up and die? I said, I won't crawl for anyone, let alone a shit like you. Saw you on the street, kissing her mouth, I know why. Lolly, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. We're breaking up, we're breaking up. She don't talk to me, don't talk to me. We're breaking up. I'm forced to admit I'm envious of what you got together. I'm forced to admit I'm envious. Lolly, don't talk to me. Talk to me, we're breaking up, she don't talk to me, don't talk to me, we're breaking up. Woohoo! Had the harmonica out for the end. There we go. Well, we had so many more songs planned today, but that's we got with Jeremy Whiskey and Saul, that would have been fantastic, man. Next year, okay, okay. Tassie, New Zealand, that'd be brilliant, fella. But we'll talk more, okay?
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be into that. Awesome.
Get out of the drain, and I wish everybody, whoever team wins, and obviously, yes, I'm going for the D's, but I just want to see a good game. And even if your team, Dave, the Bulldogs that you've adopted, win, it's okay.
That you adopted on my behalf.
Yeah. It's your team now. It's your team. Even if
apparently it's my team now.
It's going to be a good win for you, mate. It's going to be okay.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm now going to have to watch the game now.
Of course you are. And you go, and you have to text me and say, what are the rules again? Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, no, I do know the rules. Many years ago when I lived in Melbourne, I lived in East Hawthorn.
Yeah.
And I actually used to barrack for Hawthorn, and we actually won the premiership in '89.
Yes.
When I was living there. So yeah, and that's there you go.
Hey, are we going to go out with a clip?
Oh no, yeah. Let's talk about this now.
Yeah. So
let me throw this photo up.
Yeah.
here
This
we go.
really good friend of mine who's a banger is also has built this as his lockdown project, which that is, for everybody who doesn't know what that is a lot of soldering. That is indeed a video synthesizer. Simon Travax, you're an absolute genius, and I couldn't think of a better lockdown project to do. That is incredible work.
It's like Mad Professor sort of stuff.
Oh, look, Simon's many versions of the Mad Professor, and a lovable human being, and not a bad kick of the footy too. But that's his lockdown project, an incredible piece of work. We actually used it on a video. We've been doing, as our lockdown projects, we've been doing videos on our iPhones and putting them all together, recording them and putting them all together. And we put this one through the video synthesizer that Simon has used, or Simon put it through the video synthesizer, and this is a tribute to all the lockdown projects, like Timmy's Christmas album that's coming out.
Yeah.
Christmas project. You got to have a lockdown project.
Heath actually, he did all the editing, and then we shot it over there, and then it got put through this thing. Let me just see if I can bear with us. We'll see if this works. Sometimes it's hit and miss playing videos on this thing. What am I looking for? Well, welcome.
Here we are.
To the good life. All right, let's see if this works, guys. Here we go.
Thanks to Simon for his brilliant work, and thanks to Heath too. That's it.
Hit the QR code, guys, if you want to hit it, give us a tip.
Woke up another beautiful day, fished a shoe from a sea of clothes. Milk was lonely in the fridge, everything else looks like it is out of the yard. Even my breakfast is passive aggressive. Even my breakfast is passive aggressive. Another night I'm over the moon. Heart is weak but the brain is broken. Got a nipple in the throat. Nothing much comes for free. Like an old magic pudding. Cut it out, dig it out, keeps going back. Cut it out, dig it out, keeps going back. Welcome to the good life. Oh yeah, we've got the life. Welcome to the good life. Good life. Yet again another beautiful day. Sun was cold but the streets were cooler. People hiding in the shade, desperately vain, that's why. Broken out of conversation. Lied to, I need to begin to forget you. Lied to, I need to begin to forget you. Welcome to the good life. Oh yeah, we've got the life. Welcome to the good life. Good life. I got what was rightfully mine. Great fat slice and the beggars pay off. Cutting other people's grass. Mainline the app store. Dig around your recent past. Dig around your recent past. Call around, dig around, turn around. Welcome to the good life. Oh yeah, we've got the life. Welcome to the good life. Oh yeah, we've got the life. Wow. Simon Travax, Heath Nicholson on the mixing there. And Dave, that was your mix, wasn't it, too?
Yes, that was my mix.
That was a good mix.
Yeah,
too.
that was actually mine. I did the audio mix on that one. Some more. We've had some more tips come through. Thanks so much, Brian, for your tip. Hunter, man, thank you so much. Really generous. Thank you so much. Guys, yeah, if you want to throw us a tip, just hit that QR code. Takes you to our shop. It's safe and secure there. And look, if you haven't got any of our music or any of our T-shirts, which I'm wearing from our Water to
Damn sexy
album, have a look around. There's heaps of T-shirts there, all of our music, all of our albums. There's bundles. There's all sorts of stuff on our shop. But look, if you just want to throw a $5 tip, or if you want to put enough in there that we can buy the plane, we won't say no to that either. And if you can't, it's all cool. We completely understand too, man. So, well, this has been a bit of a blast, El.
Yeah. Look, I think this is going to be an annual event, the pre-grand final Welter stream. What do you reckon? I'm just waiting for the one that we do when like the Swans are in the final, because I don't know whether you will be able to contain yourself. I don't think I'll be doing one that year. Okay.
You'll be just like this. the whole.
Can we do? Just everything going fast, okay?
Exactly. And that's it's like. And that. Thanks, Mr. Kabadi.
Yeah, it's awesome work, wasn't it, Chris? Fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
I hope you and the fam are well down there. Been ages since we've seen you, man. One day we can travel again. I thought it was really strange. Just the other day, I was talking to Mr. Tony Wall, our producer, on the phone. And he was just coming back from getting a COVID test. And I said, "Oh, what, you're not feeling very well?" He said, no, I just need to get a test because I've got to travel up to St Ives, which is a few suburbs away across the bridge. So I needed to get a COVID test to prove that I don't have COVID so I can get my travel papers to go and work somewhere else. And I'm just going, holy shit, where the hell do we live now? I've got to get my travel papers. It's just weird.
It is crazy, isn't it?
It is just weird, But hey, we keep doing this because we're just making the best out of a weird situation. So this is just fun to do.
Yeah,
and that too. Thanks, Sol. Thanks so much for coming on. Thanks everybody for being here today. We've got to zip off because we're about to jump on our Welter. We've been doing a Welter weekly hangout with the band on Google Hangouts, just so we can sit around and have a chat and have a drink. And today's a really special day for us because our bass player Jacob was supposed to get married today. It's the third time they've had to cancel their wedding, so we're just having a little bit of a cheer for Jake and Beck today. Too. So we better zip off and get ready for the next online thing that we're doing too. So have a great night tonight, El, watching the game.
Thanks, mate. Thank you so much.
I hope the best team wins.
May your team win, whatever your team is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever your team wins, that's it. And if it's not AFL, it could be something else. It could be darts, it could be lawn bowls, whatever. May the best team win tonight.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks again, Urthboy, Timmy Levinson. You're an absolute genius, my friend. I'm so pleased you joined us today. And we'll see you Welter Wednesday, 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. We'll get over Hump Day together. And please take care. Be well. Ciao, Bell.
See you, mate. Yes, be well, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks, guys. We love you all. As El said, we will see you on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Sydney time for our continuation of our Welter Wednesday series, letting Welter get you through Hump Day and hopefully put a bit of a spring in your step for the midweek blues that we tend to always get. We love you all, guys. Again, if you want to hit us with a tip, just hit that QR code. And if not, all cool, no worries at all. Thanks to everybody that's given us a tip. We really love your support. We really appreciate it. We really do. We want to get into the studio because we've got like a couple of albums worth of songs we want to record too. So have a great Saturday. Have a great grand final, and we'll see you soon. Bye. See you guys.